Good evening. More than 11,000 people are now thought to have been killed in southern Asia after an undersea earthquake sent enormous waves rolling across the Indian Ocean. The quake measured 8.9 on the Richter scale, the biggest in the world for 40 years. Waves up to 10 meters high engulfed the coasts of many countries. The quake's epicenter was off the island of Sumatra in northwestern Indonesia, where more than 4,000 people are thought to have died. In Sri Lanka, officials say more than 3,000 people have been killed and more than 1 million affected. In southern India, 3,000 people, mostly fishermen, are reported dead. At least 300 have been killed in southern Thailand, including some tourists, and hundreds of people are missing. And waves swamped the low-lying Maldive Islands, leaving the capital Male two-thirds underwater. Gareth Furby reports.
This was Sri Lanka as the seawater flooded inland. Thousands have lost their lives here. And government officials say more than 1 million people, around 5% of the island's population, have been affected. The floodwater came inland for several hundred meters. Some victims were washed away as friends and relatives screamed. Sri Lanka's Natural Disaster Management Centre says it may be the worst disaster they've experienced.
Well, the epicenter of the earthquake was deep beneath the Indian Ocean, yet the destruction has been spread across a huge region. The quake triggered a giant wave of water, which spread across thousands of miles of the Indian Ocean.
On a beach in Thailand, the crowds flee in fear as a wave approaches. This did not turn out to be one of the really big ones to strike. But the power of these waves has caused devastation here and along thousands of miles of coastline across the entire region. The waves, known as tsunami, can move at up to 400 miles an hour. Out in the ocean, they aren't usually that high. But look inside at what happens as the waves approach the coast. The peak of the waves is forced upwards. Today they were several stories high, and behind them comes a vast and destructive mass of water. The cause of this disaster lies in the pattern of tectonic plates dividing the Earth's surface. The boundary between the Indian plate and the Eurasian plate is especially active. Where the earthquake struck, the two plates are colliding, forcing the seabed to jolt by as much as 10 meters. The effect was felt right across the ocean, the quake generating a series of tsunami waves. So how does this compare with previous quakes? Well, the one in Bam in Iran last year measured 6.3 on the Richter scale. This one measured 8.9, the biggest for 40 years. And as to the waves, Papua New Guinea 6 years ago was struck by waves 17 meters high. Today's were 10 meters, still among the most dangerous of recent times.
This is just crazy. Look at it. It's just covering the screen.
At the British Geological Survey, experts were left stunned, not by the location of the event, but by its scale.
This is known to be an active area which has produced large earthquakes in historical times, but you can't tell exactly when an earthquake is going to strike.
But the waves took up to 3 hours to strike, so could there have been a warning? There is a system for monitoring tsunamis in the Pacific, but the people beside the Indian Ocean had no chance. David Shukman, BBC News.
The latest figures in the state of Tamil Nadu are about 1,700 people being killed. There's also hundreds more in neighbouring states, Andhra Pradesh, and even round on the west coast of India in Kerala, a place where many tourists like to go. There have been deaths reported there as well.
And are there many more people still reported missing?
Yes, there are. In Andhra Pradesh, at least 400 fishermen were said to have gone out to sea or were out at sea this morning. They're definitely still missing. Some fishermen's bodies have been washed ashore throughout the day, but I don't think anyone has really got a sense of what's happened to all the people who were out at sea when this struck. The Indian government is doing everything it can. It's describing itself as being on a war footing now, and it's sending helicopters and boats and doing everything it can to find out what is going on. But there are definitely still people missing. And on the more remote parts of the coast, it may be that people are missing or they may be dead, but really nobody's getting very much information from those remote villages as of yet.
We've heard terrible reports from the area where you are of many, many bodies being washed up on the beaches. How are they coping with the sheer number of bodies there?
I think nerves are a bit frayed and fraught at the end of the day here. In the hospitals, there's some pretty chaotic scenes with people rushing around, wailing, trying to get any news they can about missing relatives. I was down on the main beach here in Madras just an hour or two ago, and again, pretty sort of chaotic and slightly tense atmosphere. A lot of people hanging around, some of them looking pretty shocked, others sort of just trying to find out what's going on, and very kind of sort of nervous atmosphere even now. So people are still struggling to come to terms with what happened. I mean, it's just an incredible shock to the city.
Matthew Grant in Madras, thank you.
Oh my God, look, it's just coming in now, right over the swimming pool. Shit.
Get inside!
Get inside, come on guys! We've got to get out here. We'll be alright for this one.